What's up, tea freaks? This is James.
This is Danny from TeaDB, bringing you guys episode 281, and today we got some white tea. Now, normally when we film these things, we film a few sessions in a row, and I was like, well, let's start with the white tea. I'll do that one because it's white tea. But James was like, no. So apparently we're getting into some trouble here.
Yeah, this should be a relatively strong white tea. I actually had this tea just yesterday.
Nice.
I bought a few samples from White2Tea of their white teas, and I've had each of them once, and this was the one that crossed me as the most interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So it's a 2018 tea. It's usually used for pu'erh material, so that could be a reason why it's a bit strong.
Yeah. Wow. And yeah, it smells like a pu'erh. Yeah, it does for sure. I mean, it has that gasoline-y smell. And also when you were pretty much failing to break this thing apart because it was so compressed.
Right. Yeah, it's compressed into a cake as well.
Look at that. So this is funny because it's a white tea, so it's brewing out like both a young raw and a white tea in terms of the liqueur.
Yeah, I get a little bit of those young raw notes here.
Okay.
And we're also brewing the Bing hole, so we are working with some chopped up material right here.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
Loudy. I mean, it smells like there's absolutely some of those sort of like floral, honey, flowery, honeysuckle, vanilla smells in there for sure.
Yeah.
But also some gasoline and fire.
Yep.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Now, this is kind of weird because it's a 2018, so does that just mean that it's being produced in 2018, but the material is older in this case?
No, I think it was grown in 2018
so
as
that's
well.
Just wild.
I believe. Or at least it's not. If it was not this year, it would have been last year probably. So
it's just pretty intense that it could have developed so much peaty flavor and intensity as a raw.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Where are they storing this?
I'm not sure.
Is what I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's even had significant time in storage.
I know, but still, even then.
But yeah, he stores his tea in Guangzhou, where it
Okay.
recently flooded, but I think the ship before it flooded. Yeah.
I just wonder, because it's so... We'll see how it tastes, but it so strongly resembles the smell of the... It has a clear nose of that petroleum, PD, young raw pu'erh.
Right, and I mean,
color on it. Wow.
it's that material too, so...
Smell this.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, man. Wow, yeah. It's so cool, because it has all that, like, earthiness in the aroma, and then the sort of sweetness.
Yeah.
So, bon voyage. Going to Crazy Town. See you guys. Cheers. It tastes like a White2Tea, young, sweet as fuck, raw pu'erh.
Right. So it makes it a little bit easier to drink because it's been processed as a white rather than a raw, I'm guessing.
Yeah. It's really good. This has much more of a white tea flavor, though, than I've had other White2Tea young raw pu'erhs that have been exceptionally sweet. And unless you're really leaning on them hard, they're not very bitter at all.
Right. This isn't bitter at all.
No, it's not. But it still has that undercurrent, a nice solid depth of that earthiness to it. Really delicious, really sweet aftertaste. Wow,
right.
This is really good, dude.
And if you think of the processing of white tea, it's not a very processed tea. It's like just sun dried,
basically,
and probably pressed, steamed, I guess, into a cake.
Right.
So the processing, I think, shouldn't overshadow the quality of the base material.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, this is wonderful. It's leaving a very noticeable sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like the complexity too, because it is uncommon to have these sorts of flavors paired together and achieved in a balanced way.
Yeah.
It's really tasty. All right. Round two.
leaving a really nice aftertaste. The depth of it feels very pu'erh-ish to me.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of times you'll have a white tea. And I'm using boiling here, guys. I ain't doing no Nancy
I was going to say, one of the nice things about this is that it has those white tea flavors, but it's warmer than it's normally.
Right.
I'm not normally going to drink it. It has more of a whole body experience. Look at back to getting nice and
right.
deeper and deeper.
And
really juicy.
And I'm using 4 grams for 75 milliliters. I talked to another blogger, Oolong Owl, who does a lot more white teas, and she recommended sort of going a little bit lighter on the leaf than you would for pu'erh. So normally I'd use 5 grams of pu'erh, but the strength to me feels about right.
This is really good. I could see it getting a little bit too strong.
Yeah, and we might find out on this one.
I was going to say,
this one's
a little bit stronger. Wow, this is really good. Yeah, I'm happy. It leaves a really noticeable residual flavor in the mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like that's what really makes it feel like it's sort of Yunnan material. It's like that sort of strength of aftertaste and stuff like that is something you get. And really good pu'erh. Yeah,
it has a little bit of that spiciness of that earth. Keep on going. This feels hot.
Cheers. And this is a tea that will brew out a while. I get a little bit of bitterness.
I mean, but just a bit. It's still, it's more potent now. Maybe losing a little bit of the subtlety of some of those high notes and sweetness because there's a little bit more bitterness. It's really good.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's like when you overbrew a young raw especially, the color will get a little bit darker. And like, to me, in some sense, it's like, oh, fuck. Did I just like overdo it? But I've been brewing these white teas the past couple days, and sometimes I'll have that same sort of like, it's a little bit darker. Like this is this is about what I expected, but like the last brew was a little bit darker than I expected.
Right.
But usually it's not bad.
No.
So the brewing is just a little bit more forgiving as far as...
I was going to say, it resembles in the way in which a black tea doesn't bitter in the same way that a pu'erh tea does if you overleaf or overbrew or too much hot water. This feels sort of more similar to that black tea.
Yeah.
I think green teas can even get too bitter in comparison.
Yeah.
Whereas a black tea is sort of, it just sort of reaches to a little bit of a, not chalkiness, but a little bit more of a mouthfeel sort of, kind of cotton mouthy, little bit of that. But this is really good. And I continue just to sort of hang out and experience it. When would you drink this during the day? It's kind of puzzling.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of a challenging brew in some sense. It's not like it gets rough in the same way that pu'erh does, but it's strong. So I feel like this is a tea I could probably overdo. Maybe start it in the morning, have a few more brews in the afternoon, sort of tea. What about yourself?
Yeah. Although I don't think this would be the first thing I would drink.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Not an empty stomach tea.
Yeah, definitely.
And I actually think this tea, the most important question, the question we always ask, the mom test. I think this is a really interesting mom test case. I'm not sure.
I think yes.
Yes?
I think yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Because, the peatiness of this isn't the most forward flavor of the brew. So I think that you could kind of trick somebody into thinking that they're not drinking a tea that at least was meant to be potentially aged. So there's plenty of spice in this, but it sort of reminds me of like some people like those kind of like chai flavors and stuff, Yeah. You could kind of sell someone like, this is a sweet chai sort of thing. And they'd be like, oh, okay.
So it's sort of like a...
Does it have caffeine in it?
No.
Will it help me lose weight?
Yeah.
But...
Just got derailed.
Yeah. So, in terms of this passing the mom test, actually, I think it would. I think that most people would find this pretty enjoyable. Maybe a little bit challenging. And definitely some people wouldn't find this tasty, but we don't like those people.
Yeah, screw them. Yeah. If you don't like this tea, you're not my friend.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Dang.
And we're just going to do a couple more here on camera, but this tea can definitely go a while.
Absolutely. Still quite potent.
Interestingly, also, I did not order a sample of this, but he also had a red tea with the same material, so a black tea, and it'd be interesting to see how that compares. I imagine it could be a similar sort of sweetness of aftertaste and stuff.
But it's also pressed?
Yes,
Seemingly.
I believe so, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Costs a little bit more because processing, I guess, is a little harder.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, this, it's interesting taking like golden tips and black teas and pressing them into cakes and letting them hang out and then trying them later. These teas in general, they really, especially when they're dry stored, seem to maintain the integrity of the base material surprisingly well. But then they just get this kind of like interesting funkiness. Sometimes, especially, obviously with young white teas, this is an exception. You don't expect to have those high notes maintained quite as well. And they probably will die off a little bit as this ages.
Yeah.
But,
I think at this point it really does smell like a white tea, more so than some of that peatiness. I think is balanced out a little bit.
And the material itself, you can just, it really does look much more...
It doesn't look great.
oxidized, and...
I think we're dealing with some Bing Home material, but it's not the prettiest tea, but it is it is a very solid one.
Well, it doesn't remind folks of those sort of young, fluffy, fuzzy buds that typically demarcate a white tea.
Right. Yeah.
But some of the best white teas that I've had are funky looking. They look like a maple leaf has fallen down and fallen apart, and then you're drinking it, and it's so good. So I don't know. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh God! Now it's just getting like really comfortable and pleasant and soft.
Yeah,
really palatable.
I actually enjoy the flavors of this when it gets a little bit darker. It has a little bit more. I don't even want to call it funkiness, but a little more herbalness to it, a little bit more complexity rather than your basic white tea flavors. And it's not bitterness or anything like that. And
no,
I enjoy
it does. It has a little bit kind of earthy, mentholy, even almost a sort of cooling sort of sensation, and mostly this just tastes great. I think this no longer passes the mom test though.
Brewing like this.
At this point now in the progression of the steeps, these are the steeps that you and I probably find the most interesting, but probably moms hate us. At this point, moms probably wouldn't be into this. It's not as sweet and floral and bright as it was before.
Although I think you could probably brew it to be more like that if you went a little bit lighter.
Slower. And,
slower extraction from the leaves. This is a little bit more intense, but it's not bitter.
No.
It's just a little bit
it just has
more atypical.
Yeah, it just has more different, diverse flavors.
Cheers.
It's so good. There's a little bit of a spiciness to it and really sweet.
Very smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, shout out to this tea. Go grab this. White2Tea.
Arbor White. Dear old white to you guys.
Boink.
Yeah.
Super tasty. Even a sample of this is worth your time.
Absolutely.
Just to try something a little bit different. Definitely a category bender in a good way, and check these dudes out. Give them the Google.
Yes.
White2Tea.com probably, but whatever.
Easier these days to just Google it.
Give them the Google. Siri them up. Siri? Do people say? My mom does that type to speech to text.
Yeah, so does my dad.
Don't do that. Don't do that in the comments, but if you do, we'll read it. It's pretty funny, actually, sometimes.
Type to text in the comments.
Text your comments.
Yeah.
It'd be like a
Dear
real big...
Danny and James. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. Love you, Mom. And to all the moms out there, thanks for subscribing. If you like this episode, like the episode, subscribe on TeaDB.org. That's the website. Lots of article content, categories to describe all these different teas, and you can just lose your tons of time in there in a good way. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Cool. We'll see you guys next time.
Cheers.